Oh boy. Okay. Oh my god. Okay, this is gonna be a video that I probably put it on unlisted until like, because I don't want to get shadow banned by YouTube again. They do that shit. They literally make you invisible, and we don't have really dust of appearance to put on ourselves at this point. Israel Unbiased History by Dovahhatty. Okay, first I need to make a disclaimer. First, I'm Iranian. I live in Iran. Second, I do not condemn the brutal ways of neither Mossad or Hamas. None of that. I do not condemn terrorism. I do not condemn brutality against Palestinians. I do not condemn any of them. I hope for the peace and wish for it. Eventually, we can get past our differences and get together and be friends, man. But yeah, let's get into this. Just saying that before the comments get crazy. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Israel, ancestral land of the Jewish people. Few dare tell its great history. Many believe it to be a long, complex, highly controversial story. However, you've been lied to.
Oh god, wait, oh, Ben, oh my god. Okay, I'm getting angry already. But Ben's a bit down. Oh my god. Yeah.
Israel's history is simple, objective, and, as the Torah teaches us, best told through the Fallout experience.
Wait a second, what? No fucking way.
So, much like inspecting a terrorist outpost after being bombed by the Israeli Air Force, by the time we're done, you'll quickly realize that Israel did nothing wrong. Thousands of years ago, the Jewish people were chosen by God and promised the Holy Land. Whether it was because of their unfathomable IQ, moral purity, or high perseverance matters little. What does matter is that everyone else was jelly as hell, couldn't take the banter, and destroyed the grand Jewish civilization, renaming the Holy Land with the foreign imperialist name of Palestine. Now, all spread out through this fallen, post-apocalyptical world, the Jewish people, resented for their unmatched skills, were only allowed to partake in trading and finances. This was a mistake. More persecutions followed. By the 19th century, thousands of Jews began migrating back home for spiritual reconnection, only to find their ancestral lands occupied by Muslim Arabs. Any good sources will tell you that Arabs have no claim to the land, and Islam is just yet another Torah fanfiction. But with Jewish hatred
Holy shit. Okay, this is very, very biased, but I'm gonna talk after it because this is extremely sensitive subject. Jesus Christ.
Unfazed by this, average Jew Fyodor Herzl organized the Zionist movement, advocating for a new Jewish state. One dead archduke later, the Brits took over the Holy Land and helped more Jews to migrate back home. The Arab occupiers began to riot. The Brits caved in and limited Jewish immigration, and the Jews protested this action. The new United Nations proposed a god-awful partition plan to divide the Holy Land between Jews and Arabs. The chosen people accepted anyway, and declared independence as the Great State of Israel, a secular democracy where all would be free to prosper, Jew, Muslim, and all others alike, while the Arabs declared war. The 1948 invasion of Israel by the Arab League ended exactly as you would expect. Arab humiliation. 700,000 Palestinians were made refugees by the invading Arab armies, but in Palestinian folklore, they blame.
What the fuck are with these pictures?
The 1948 invasion of Israel by the Arab League ended exactly as you would expect. Arab.
Oh my god. Well, wait, okay, first of all, what's the sauce for that? Because I like the look of her, you know?
Humiliation. 700,000 Palestinians were made refugees by the invading Arab armies, but in Palestinian folk.
Son of Ali. That's, to be fair, that's how you most Arabs, at least traditional Arabs, name themselves. It's a name of you and the son of your, basically the name of your father. It's name, not family name. So Hassan ibn Ali, Hassan ibn Jawad, Hassan ibn Alex. Ahmad, son of Ali.
Folklore, they blamed the Jews and called this event the Nakba, the catastrophe. The young officers, Ariel Sharon and Moshe Dayan, had a good time. As Israel thrived in a sea of third-world misery, its leaders were able to focus on what would become its main export, Mossad PSYOPs. Take a long evening to look at Israel's successful assassinations list to get what Mossad is all about. Be you the architect of the Holocaust hiding in Argentina or Moroccan, you are not safe. Bitter at defeat and failing to take the Jewish banter, the Arab League formed the Palestinian Liberation Organization to terrorize Israel, an effort they didn't lack.
That's where the biasm comes from. Like when you call the shit that Mossad does, Chad moves, and the things that Hamas does, terrorist moves. Like that's the same shit that's happening in the West. Oh my god. Let's unbiased. I'm gonna be unbiased.
Took it over and became.
But he's biased. That's the problem. When he's biased, how can I be unbiased?
Chief. This combined with Egypt and 3 other Arab nations all mobilizing against Israel again in 1967, the Jews could predict what would follow from a Gaza Strip away. Psyoping the Arabs into complacency,
Jesus,
nuking their entire
oh my
air
god,
force and letting generals like Sharon and Dayan take over the Sinai Peninsula, West Bank, and Golan Heights, all in 6 days. The tears collected from captured Arabs that week sustained the Israeli salt market to this day. But crying wasn't enough to stop the enemies of Zion. 6 years later, the Arabs invaded Israel again in the holy Jewish day of Yom Kippur. Despite such treachery, Sharon halted their advance, but at great cost. On that war, Israel's KD fell to just 7-1. The Holy Land secured, many Jews migrated to the reconquered lands of their ancestors, building new Jewish communities in the West Bank, the first settlements. Illegal? Against international law? What law? If advocating for us getting ethnically cleansed from the area is your thing, then I see you haven't been paying attention to the score. Contrary to popular and UN belief, Israel has always led
Holy shit! This shit this dude's talking about! Oh my god! Holy shit, I'm kind of embarrassed to actually listen to this anymore. Oh god. Maybe I'm brainwashed to think that way. Or maybe he's brainwashed to think that way, and we need to meet in the middle, like Jesus Christ. Half of us need to do that, and half of them need to do that to make a deal or something. Jesus.
Peace. Proof being Israel's return of the Sinai Peninsula to Egypt, just asking in return for them to stop being so cringe. The Egyptian leader got murdered for it, and a decade later the Lebanese became very cringe. I'm not gonna bother explaining the Lebanese civil war to you. Imagine...
Fuck you! Fuck you! Lebanon started fighting Iranian shill militias. God damn it. God damn it.
Imagine spending 30 years fighting multiple militias under foreign occupation just for at the end your national army still only be the second biggest military force in your country. Enter Hezbollah. You see, Iran is more than just a theocratic hellhole, it's also a connoisseur of paid shilling.
Oh, now we're getting personal with me. Okay. I'm not going to say anything that's gonna behead me or something, so I'm not gonna talk about my government's identity. I'm going to say I agree to disagree 5% at least. Give me 5% that not all of this shit is our fault, okay?
While Lebanon was on fire, it propped up a Shia militia group called Hezbollah to fight against the Israeli peacekeeping forces.
To be fair, fuck off, I'm gonna pause as many times as I want, shut the fuck up, get out. Listen, Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah is not a bad leader, and is not a bad person morally speaking. If you listen to his interviews, you can understand that he's not a bad person. Our leader maybe, but he is not, you know? So let's...
While Lebanon was on fire, it propped up a Shia militia group called Hezbollah to fight against the Israeli peacekeeping forces entering South Lebanon. And despite being solely funded by the worthless monopoly money known as Iranian rials, the Lebanese never kicked
That's true, that's fucking true.
Surrounded by terrorists in either hostile or incompetent states, Israel was nevertheless thriving, until the First Intifada. ask an anti-Zionist influencer what the first intifada was, and he'll demand your attention for an entire week. Ask an intifada partaking terrorist instead, and he'll be very straightforward. A huge anti-Israeli revolt broke out, rocks were thrown, civilians were killed, excuses were given, and the results were predictable. Now remember, Egypt exists, and it's ruled by idiots. Thanks to that, they allowed a splinter faction of their theocratic party to infiltrate Gaza, renaming themselves as Hamas. Be it the French or Russian Revolution, World War I, capitalism or communism, Hamas will tell you the Jews were behind it all, call for jihad with no peace as an option, while
I agree with them too, 10%.
Their whole ideology can be summarized as the average Malaysian
Come on!
basket weaving forum but not even the constant tunnel building could stop Israel's quest for peace. In 1993, Israeli Prime Minister Rabin and Arafat, under the auspices of Bill Clinton, signed the Oslo Accords, giving the PLO recognition and tons of self-governance, just asking them to stop being terrorists in return. After a little trolling, later came Prime Minister Barak to finish the deal, offering 90% of the West Bank, many settlements to be destroyed, East Jerusalem, allowing many 1948 refugees to return. It was everything Palestinians could practically hope for. Arafat, with such a great offer for a Palestinian state at hand, he launched the Second Intifada. In the midst of such chaos came Ariel Sharon again, getting elected Prime Minister. After securing the Palestinian cities whose self-governance was exploited to host terror attacks, imagine that, Sharon ordered built the only thing that could allow for peaceful coexistence with Palestinians. Enter the wall. The Israeli West...
Oh my god, that fucking piece of shit wall! Oh my, that wall is the most depressing, horrendous thing ever built in the history of humanity ever since the Berlin Wall. And fuck it. Fuck that wall. Take it down. Both of you, Jews and Arabs, just kick it. Just fucking kick it from both sides. I hate that shit.
Bank barrier was built all across the West Bank's borders, including in many settlements deep into the West Bank for added security. Illegal land grab? Segregation? Apartheid state? Sounds like I just found a volunteer for a new Mossad experiment.
Oh my god, this is too fucked up. This is, okay, I listen to all sort of fucked up shit. I watched all sort of fucked up shit. This is so fucked up because it's literally our neighbor. I live next to those people. I see them. I see the fucking brutality that's happening over there from both sides. Mostly Mossad.
Accords status quo like a walled-off kindergarten. Inside, the Palestinians are able to express their youthful excesses without bothering the grown-ups. And whenever things get too rowdy, the adults are ready to storm in and ensure the peace. Despite the Second Intifada being over, Arafat dying and Mr. Abbas succeeding him to power, Sharon's big Jewish heart still yearned for long-term peace. As a show of goodwill, he pulled all Israeli troops and settlements out of Gaza. And the Palestinians followed this up by using their newfound self-governance by voting for Hamas. Things then got too rowdy. The PLO kicked Hamas from the West Bank and kept an illegal hold on power, and Hamas bombed the PLO out of Gaza. The Gaza Strip was blockaded, unemployment rose to 50%.
The unemployment isn't the problem, the famine and the lack of medicine was the biggest problem when so many people
living
died.
Standards crashed and most money sent to Gaza was turned into rockets. So betrayed was Ariel Sharon, he fell into a permanent coma until his death. Some Jews are too good for this cruel world. Getting attacked, bombing terrorists, making truces, and getting refused long-term peace. Such became Israel's modern predicament. As for Hamas, ironically, they didn't like getting blown up, and so began putting their military assets beside schools, hospitals, and civilian areas to discourage Israeli bombardment. But the noble Israelis came up with a counter-strategy: roof knocking. Basically, if you're a Palestinian civilian hosting terrorists or their equipment in your house, the first bomb means get out. The phone call means get out now, and the second bomb means your fault. But even if all else fails, Israel can always rely on the Iron Dome system, a network of targeted missile launchers that intercept 90% of Hamas's rockets. And the best part? America pays for it all. Life in modern Israel is, in short, a glorious one, best represented by the settlement's vault-dweller-like experience. You enjoy your days among the wonders and glories of first-world living standards, filled with forced conscription, great food, and abundant third-world labor in the holy land of your ancestors, all surrounded by thick, massively reinforced walls. And should you make the mistake of venturing into the lawless lands beyond, you'll be quickly reminded of why that wall was built in the first place. Despite Israel's best efforts, a Palestinian state still doesn't exist. The conflict rages on, and once more Jews must endure being hated just for being that good at everything they do. If after watching this you feel compelled to subscribe to certain channels and to defend Israel's honor against the unending hordes of Twitter lefties, then don't be too bothered by the beeping sound coming from inside your head. That just means the experiment worked. Gotta go now. I have been speaking for over 10 minutes and not once shilled an advertised product. I have to leave this place before the Grand Priest finds out and executes me for incompetence.
Oh my god, okay.
Would thank the many members of the Merchants Guild for funding these videos and being truly
Merchants Guild. Okay, now that makes a lot more sense.
Phrase. God bless the Jewish people.
Based on your point of view, holy crap. Okay. I'm sorry if I was I'm too emotional right now to. If anything, I don't care really about some of these. This was more of a the comedic way of looking at stuff, but the Gaza Strip that he explained in 2 minutes, that shit was brutal. Like, I compare that to the shit that's happening to Yemen right now, and that's why I got emotional near the end, because I literally can't just laugh that shit off, because we saw what's happening. But yeah, the more now that he said it like that, it makes more sense, because that's the joke, isn't it? That's the joke, that this way of thinking is unbiased to some Zionists. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. Maybe I don't have a brain chip. But yeah, I won't mind getting brain chip to actually accept everything I see, to be inhuman enough to not see the horrendous things that's happening around me. That would be fun, wouldn't it? Just to not feel anything. Just to be a robot. And just do. That would be so fucking good. Yeah, I count Mossad as a terrorist organization. He didn't even get to Benjamin Netanyahu. That's crazy. But that's good though, because if I would have seen that motherfucker, I would have just flipped the shit. I don't know if I can actually upload this video now, because I assume the people who are watching him are mostly pro-Israel people who really don't care about the lives of Arabs who are living there. So if I upload this, it's going to be absolutely negative conversations toward me, and I kind of don't like that. But yeah, okay, listen. I want peace. Let's end it there. See you later. This video fucked me up a bit.